What is up, YouTube? That's here, bringing you guys a few more Pokemon Showdown games. These next few games are actually going to be me using a completely different team, a bunch of stuff you haven't really seen me use before. I am going to be still using a Quash Sableye because, as I've said a million times, I think it's the best lead in the game. Pairing it also with my Landorus, I really like that wall Landorus, and I couldn't think of a better wall, and I kind of needed an Intimidator. So we're using Landorus for now. I don't think he'll make the final cut, but we are going to be using Scarf Latios. I really think it's a Pokemon that checks other Landoruses, checks other dragons, and overall, it's just a really great Pokemon with very good offensive coverage. Also going to be using Charizard Y. I saw a ton of Charizard Ys at Utah, and I think pairing Charizard Y with a Quash Sableye lets it check a lot of Pokemon that it normally wouldn't have any KO power against. Going to be using Mega Kangaskhan as kind of a bait for them to try and check my Kangaskhan, and I bring Charizard instead. Kangaskhan also is a very good Pokemon. If my opponent's team is weak against Kangaskhan, if they have a bunch of Pokemon that are like Milotic and Sylveon, I can definitely just bring Kangaskhan and roll them over that way, so that is always an option. But for these next few games, we are going to be focusing on Charizard. I already mentioned Landorus has the wall EV spread with an Assault Vest, and last but not least is a Focus Sash. Defiant Bisharp, there are a ton of Sylveons going around right now, and Crystalias, of course, so I feel that Bisharp is definitely a Pokemon that can just be thrown into my team and it'll work relatively well. I also needed a Sash user, so that's why we're using Bisharp today. My opponent's team backflip is going to be Mega Salamence, Suicune, Amoonguss, Gengar, Terrakion, and Bisharp. Very standard team. Looks a lot more, I would say, like, beginning of the year-ish. I mean, he has a Suicune and an Amoonguss, so two Pokemon that are, I wouldn't say, like, outdated, but they're definitely becoming figured out by the player base, and they're getting set up on for the most part. So we're just going to see how I can do against this team. We're going to get right into it and go for it. So we're going to be leading off with Sableye. Sableye has Prankster, Quash, Fake Out, Will-O-Wisp, Recover. Very good set. I'm rocking a Mental Herb on this one, not a Mega Stone. And also my Latios, and we're going to be pairing off against Salamence and Gengar. So we see potential stash on the Gengar. Also, we know that's probably going to be a Mega Salamence. We're going to see him Mega Evolve, and this is a really weird play. He goes for the Protect, and I'm going to go for the Will-O-Wisp on Gengar because I need to clock its Sash somehow. And then my Latios, we're going to see that Latios is faster than Gengar, and we're going to go for a Psyshock. It's going to get the crit unneeded. Clocking the Sash, he's going to go down to burn at the end of the turn. He then retaliates with an Icy Wind. So he has every right to believe that his Salamence is faster than my Latios now, because Salamence gains a huge speed boost after Mega Evolving. So my opponent played a pretty good turn here. It was pretty expected. I mean, I went for the Nuke on one slot, he went for the Standard Protect. This is where I think he goes for a really weird turn. Instead of, I have to switch out, right? I have to switch out. I can't just eat a Double Edge or like a D-Pulse or something in the face. Switch out into Charizard, so not the best switch in. And I go for the Will-O-Wisp onto the Salamence. He actually decided not to Rage Powder, and he goes for the Double Edge. It's going to do a little bit over half because he's burned, and his Amoonguss is going to retaliate with a Spore. I was very surprised to not see him go for a Rage Powder, because Salamence getting burned is pretty much game over. So we're going to see Charizard not Mega Evolve and Protect. I don't have to do that just yet. And if you're wondering why I switched into Charizard, you can look at my team in like the top left. I don't really have that many Pokemon that can switch in on anything, and that's one of the biggest weaknesses of this team. The best Pokemon I have that can switch in on stuff is probably Landorus, and I don't even remember if I brought it. So anyways, we're going to get back into the game. A bunch of Protects going off this turn, and we're finally going to see my Charizard Mega Evolve. We're going to see Sableye wake up, and Sableye is going to go for the Quash onto the Salamence. It's going to make Salamence move last this turn. And Charizard is then going to miss an Overheat. That's right, the first Overheat my Charizard uses is going to miss onto the Amoonguss slot. It's very unfortunate. And then we're going to see Amoonguss pick up the KO on my Sableye with the Giga Drain. And then Salamence, it went last, but it still gets to make a move, and he goes for a huge Double Edge and knocks out my Charizard. So I'm not doing too hot. If I would have hit that Overheat, I would have been in a very good spot, but yeah, Amoonguss is definitely a problem here. I'm going to have to send out my Choice Scarf Latios here and just send out Bisharp. And I'm probably just going to try and wait out this Salamence's, wait out the remainder of its life total, because he's going to go down to burn at the end of the turn. We're going to see Amoonguss go for Protect, and we're going to see Latios go for the Standard Psyshock. Got to get that super effective damage in on that guy. And this is where I felt he made a really weird play. So we saw that the Salamence had Earthquake. We saw that he had Double Edge. We saw he Protect. He probably has Dragon Dance as his last move. He doesn't have a Dragon move, or else he probably would have attacked my Latios there. So I'm really happy to see Salamence go down completely for free that turn. And we see Suicune as his last Pokemon. This is one of my problems. I don't really know why you would bring Suicune and Amoonguss to the same team. It really makes no sense to me. because there's like no KO pressure on any of these guys. Sure, he goes for an Ice Beam, but there's no way that like you're gonna get out of this one alive. So Bisharp's gonna knock off the Amoonguss, finishing it off. I take Rocky Helmet damage, which is no big deal. And from here, I just have to, I'm stuck using Side Shock, so I Shy Shock the Suicune. Suicune retaliates with a Scald onto my Bisharp. Remember, it is stunny, so it's not going to do a whole lot. Luckily for me, it doesn't get the burn, but it doesn't really matter. Knocking off the Citrus Berry is all I really wanted. And right here, there's nothing my opponent can really do about it. So he's going to forfeit, and I'm going to win the game. I felt that my opponent, all he had to do was just like Rage Powder and KO all my Pokemon with that Salamence, and he could have like won the game. But because I had no kill power on anything at that point. So luckily I won that game. He decided to take a couple risks, and yeah, I'll take the victory. We're going to go into the next game against level 100 Combee, using a pretty standard Trick Room team. What is that? Aurorus. This thing, is it Aurorus? I know it saw play at the end of last year. Gets Refrigerate. It's kind of like Salamence's Pixelate, so gotta watch out for that. Otherwise, I think I should just be able to play standard and win this one. So we're gonna lead off with Sableye. Always lead off with Sableye. I think there's nothing that can really stop me from leading with Sableye, unless my opponent's like that weak to like a certain matchup, and or unless I want to like nuke something turn 1. But in most situations, Sableye's just better. So I'm gonna lead off Sableye Charizard, really standard here, avoiding all the Intimidates here. Really surprised to see he actually love his Scrafty, because I do have a Bisharp in my team. But I'll definitely take this. We go for the Fake Out on Scrafty, and I think that I'm faster than him. That doesn't matter. Overheat's then going to hit, and it almost knocks out the Scrafty. It looks like we see an Assault Vest. Yeah, Sableye was faster than Scrafty, but he didn't go for a priority move that turn. He probably went for like a Rock Slide or something, and we're going to see Chandelure pop a Trick Room. So I completely let the Trick Room come up. There's nothing that my lead could do about it. I don't have like Taunt on my Sableye or anything, so I just have to kind of wait out this Trick Room and use bulky Pokemon to avoid everything. So since I know he has an Assault Vest because he didn't get one-shotted by Overheat, go for the Will-O-Wisp, and I switch in my Landorus, eat a critical hit Heat Wave, and it's in the sun, and my Landorus still lives. Like, that's how bulky this Assault Vest Landorus set is. He goes for a knockoff onto my Sableye Lock, knocks off my Mental Herb, not that big a deal. And there's a couple ways I could play this next turn. I decided to go for the standard, like, Clock Slash KO. He goes for the Quash, retaliating back lock, knocks off my Assault Vest, but he's burned and intimidated, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to see Landorus then go for an Earthquake on both these guys. I decided to go for the Quash Earthquake instead of the Recover Earthquake, because my Landorus just would have went down to a Heat Wave. I think this is definitely I got the better end of the trade here, because against the rest of his team, Sableye just wasn't doing that much. I mean, it's good against Mawile, but it's terrible against like Rotom and Aurorus and stuff like that. So I'm going to go down 2 for 1. And we're going to see Aurorus come in here. He only has a few turns left in his Trick Room, so I feel like I'm not too behind. But Bisharp and Charizard should be able to deal with these guys. You would expect it to be able to deal with these guys. We're going to see Chandelure pop a Protect, pretty standard play. Not wanting to go down to a Sucker Punch here. Charizard's going to Protect. I don't want to eat like a Power Gem or anything like that. And he calls me completely. He goes for an Earth Power onto my Bisharp. We see he has a Life Orb over there on the Aurorus, and he's going to eat a super effective Stabbed Iron Head for it. So I've evened up the playing field, but I do have a Pokemon at 1 HP versus, well, no, we're completely even. We both have our Megas, we both have Pokemon at 1 HP. Trick Room still has one more turn, and there is, I think 1 or 2 more turns of Sun. So he's going to go Mega Mawile here, and Chandelure's going to go for another Protect. He tries to like bait out the Sucker Punches, but I'm not really I'm not really worried about Chandelure. We're going to see he goes for a Rock Slide, and he actually misses on my Charizard, which is, well, to be honest, it probably won me the game, but this Charizard is actually like a full wall set. He has a lot invested in a special attack, but it's mostly defenses. Like, this Charizard can live through so many Rock Slides, you would be surprised. But, yeah, I mean, he missed the Rock Slide, and it won me the game. Because I think right here, if he hit the Rock Slide, it would have dropped me to about 30 or 40%, and it would have put me in Sucker Punch range. But at that point, I mean, he still would have had to deal with Bisharp. I could have, like, protected, got off, like, 2 Iron Heads, and then the third turn, he would have had to Sucker Punch one of them, and then the last one would have KO'd. So I don't think it really mattered. It was just kind of unfortunate. So, I don't know. If you guys think that mattered, leave a comment below. But this is like a full, like, wall Charizard set, just so you know. It's made to eat Rock Slides all day. So we're going to go into the last game of the day. Leading off against Doge Please has Landorus, Gardevoir, Rotom Wash, another Amoonguss, Metagross, and Thundurus. So pretty standard team over here. This team looks a lot like one of the teams that I saw get played at, where was it? Was it the Georgia Regionals last weekend? So we're just going to hop right into it, see if you guys see any similar Pokemon or if I'm just crazy. We're going into Sableye and Charizard. I think I led with these the last 2 games. Yeah, the last 2 games I led Sableye, Charizard. It's really standard lead, especially against teams like this that have like Rotom, Milotic, Metagross, Pokemon like that. Charizard's really good, and Sableye cripples Landorus, so that's why I really like it a lot. I can like fake out Heat Wave and then like quash Heat Wave and take out Landorus's. That's one of the main good combos that this team can do turn 1. We're not going to see any of that though. He's going to go for a double protect to block any shenanigans, and yeah, he's going to see him. So this next turn is actually kind of weird. So read it. So Rotom washes Quick Claw, let it move first. Amoonguss then Rage Powders. Alright. Will-O-Wisp gets redirected to Amoonguss. I think that's who I originally targeted anyways. And then Rotom goes. So, I don't know if my Sableye was like faster than Rotom, but that was... No, wait, yeah, because all that stuff's calculated at the beginning of the turn. It doesn't really matter though. Like I said, my Charizard is very bulky. It lives through the Thunderbolt, and I'm pretty sure that's like a heavily special attack invested Rotom, because those Thunderbolts should not be doing that much to my Charizard. So Gardevoir comes in, traces Drought here. I'm going to quash the Gardevoir just so I know that my Charizard can get off one more attack, go for a Solar Beam. Luckily, the Quick Claw didn't activate again. That was almost a risk. And now we're going to see my Charizard, or sorry, not Charizard. He goes for the Moonblast onto Sableye. So I have my Charizard for at least one more turn, and I'll take it. If I can have a Pokemon come out and check that Gardevoir, Charizard's free to nuke something else. Unfortunately, Landorus is going to come out. We're going to trade Landorus's with each other, double intimidating both sides of the board. And what is it? Yeah, I'm up a Pokemon right now, so I do feel very confident. I'm going to eat the Choice Scarf Moonblast. Note that that is a Choice Scarf, and because it's faster, than everything on the board. Heat Wave's going to come in, burn Gardevoir, decent damage to his Landorus, and he's going to go for a Rock Slide of his own. It's going to KO my Charizard, and that's fine. Charizard definitely did all that it needed to there. And we're going to see him flinch my Landorus, so kind of sucks to be me right now. I mean, flinching my Landorus isn't that big a deal. I do have a secret weapon in the back, and I know that I've cleaned up this game because I sent up my Latios as my last Pokemon. So, as you guys remember, Latios is my Choice Scarf Pokemon, and Latios is definitely faster than Gardevoir. I'm going to pick up the KO with an Ice Beam, and unless he crits my Latios this turn with some weird attack, I should be fine. He actually misses it instead, and he does flinch my Landorus, though, so double flinch on Landorus, Rock Slide, OP. Sunlight's going to fade, and this game is going to get cleaned up by a Choice Scarf Ice Beam. So, like I said, one of my favorite things to do is lead like Charizard or Latios with Sableye into other Landorus's and just totally gimp them for free and then switch out. I think using Quash Sableye lets you use a lot more different leads than you normally wouldn't be able to. It lets Kang check Terrakion. It lets Charizard check a Landorus. It lets a bunch of Pokemon fight stuff they would never normally be able to fight. So, I don't know, I just felt like playing some games with this team. There are a ton of weaknesses in this team. I'm not going to keep this final form. Like I said, I have nothing to ever switch into. So if you guys can think of good Pokemon that can switch in on stuff and still have great presence, like maybe like a Heatran or something, definitely leave that in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get to it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed these games, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.